Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you can join us and hope you're having a wonderful and blessed day. Yesterday we've had two milestones and victories that we overcame. One was I finally got this huge, well, to me it was huge, ash log completed. This was probably the most difficult log I have ever done. And I got it finished. It's about 33-inch diameter on this end, which this is the butt end, which is close to the stump. A nice little story with that. And on this end, it's about 25 inches, maybe 23. Let's see here. 20. Well, that says 26. So hey, we'll take 26. It's even a little wider with the bark, but that bark's kind of old and it's going to be off. So we'll say 26 inches. It's an 8-foot log, and it's been dying for a while, and it was a hard log. Even ash really isn't an extremely hard. It's just a medium type hardwood. But it just was difficult because this was it's a stump, and it was barely a 16-foot log. It was actually a longer than that, but it was the stump uprooted. And I had to get as far back into the stump I could get to get two 8-foot, really like 8'3" logs. And it really became a challenge because of that, because not only was this log just hard to mill, I end up at the second or about the third cut, I was cutting in, and all of a sudden sparks just started flying. Well, you know what that is. That's metal. Normally you hit metal. Here's my I got some hibiscus tea I've been drinking. Still dealing with some high blood pressure. I got that Ehrlichia. There's not a lot of views on my last video on our projects updates, which is fine, but I went into some videos before. I was dealing with some tick-borne diseases, overcoming them. My wife's had a couple of them and she's overcome those, and Wayne's also had one alpha gal, which is being allergic to mammal, any meat, beef, not any meat, but you can eat chicken and turkey, but mammal meat, beef and deer, pork, and mammal products. And I've, for being 8 years in the Ozarks, I've been bitten by hundreds of ticks. Never has bothered me until this year. I started being very low in energy, and my blood pressure was up like in the 150s over upper 90s, and it's normally upper 120s, lower 130s. And so I was a little troubled over that, plus having low energy. So I went to the doctors, and he took some blood tests because he felt like my body was fighting something, and found out I got Ehrlichia, which is a tick-borne disease, which I only thought dogs get, but evidently I got it. So I found it interesting. I started talking about overcoming tick-borne disease, and then I get my first one, and this has probably been the hardest out of all the ones. Alpha-gal is a real bugger. And if you don't get it controlled or to overcome, because then you can't eat any meat products. But you not only can't, and when I keep saying meat products, I mean mammal products. You can, like I said, you can eat chicken and fish and turkey, but you can't eat beef, deer, pork. But you also have an issue if you have cats or dogs or any mammal. They got a lot of mammal products inside the other products that you use for hairspray or whatever, probably even shaving cream for all I know. And so you have to be very careful. But I've been on an antibiotic. The best antibiotic is doxycycline, but you can't be out in the sun with that, so I had to go to the next one, which I don't know if it's doing as well as I want. They also put me on a blood pressure medicine, which hasn't been doing all that well. So I've been doing hibiscus tea. We have a super tonic with garlic, ginger, cayenne pepper, horseradish, onions, parsley. We put it in apple cider vinegar, and I think even some turmeric we put in it, and that's very great for the heart. But even with all that, it's still been a challenge to get my blood pressure down fighting this Ehrlichia. So this is interesting. But anyways, we're gonna get through this. But and so I got my tea here. But these slabs I've been making about 12 quarter, if 3 inches. But I wanted to make them thick because you know, this is not excellent sawmill, and it was able to do this big log, and you know, it's not a Wood Miser LT70 or even a 50, but it's a great sawmill, but it's still at 23 horsepower. You know, it struggles over these harder, bigger logs, especially if they've been sitting for a while. As you can see, there's some burnt marks on here. I'm going to throw some water on these two, and I'm going to stack them up over there. But you know, so we got some burn because I had to stop a few times, and I was using a resharpened blade. I got a few sharpened blades left, but I'm saving those for some other projects. RC, who's been doing the wood kiln, and the other victory was the wood kiln is finished, so we'll go quickly over there. And I mean, that thing has been a task. I was hoping to get it, we were hoping to get it done by Memorial Day. Well, at least we got it done by Labor Day. And this week, it's the last day of August. What day is it? Wednesday, August 31st. And this week, Wayne, this morning he had to leave. His son's getting married, so he went to Florida this morning for a week. And when he gets back next week, hopefully I'll have the kiln filled up and ready, and we'll fire that thing up for the first time, and hopefully we'll have a successful load. I got to figure out which species to put together and size and the moisture contents, and I got them all scattered about, so that's going to be a challenge getting things together to take to the kiln. But the kiln's done, and this log's done, so some great victories. And so I'm going to throw some water on this. My agenda today is I need to make some 4x4s for the base layer of the kiln, put on the cement. And I think I'm going to do that out of oak, some oak logs I have over here that aren't huge. They're 12-inch diameter or so, so maybe I can get a few 4x4s out of those for the base. And then I can get focused on what lumber I'm going to start to store. But let me throw some water on this, take another sip of this tea, get that blood pressure down, and we'll see what we're looking at. Let's try not to get the water all over me. You got to deal with a lot of dew here in the Ozarks, as you do in the South. I come from Pittsburgh, and we had some dew, but we were always racing to defeat. My brothers had and I had a landscaping company, and we had some lawn care. We didn't really do lawn services as much, but we took care of putting some fertilizer and herbicides on the lawns. And you had to get the special type on it to get it on before the dew burns away. And so we were racing to get it on through the summer, because up in Pennsylvania, in Pittsburgh, you know, there was dew, but not a lot of dew, and you had a race to get it. Well, I moved south when I got married to Ehrlichia, and oh my gosh, the dew's awful down here, and in Alabama and Arkansas. So I like to stay as dry as I can stay, not to mention the sweat. You can see a lot of ripples with the blade, but that's why I made them pretty thick. We'll be able to put these on our flattening table and flatten them out. But these should make for some good tables. You'll need some epoxy, and especially this piece. There's some rot down the center, and it's hard to, it might even be the pith right there. I think it is. Kind of looks like it. So in the juvenile wood, it's kind of rotted out. There's another little piece. But these should make for some pretty good slabs once they're dried and flattened and get all the saw marks out. And there's the finished kiln over yonder. But let me let me explain one other thing. Let me explain one other thing with this. You know, one of the things that was so hard about it is when I put it on here, I thought I had clearance on the left side, on the non-operator side. And I don't know, my eye vision, my eagle eye was so off. And as I kept pushing through, I kept hitting that side, and then I had to stop. I had to get the tractor and push it over, thinking I had clearance, and then I got down a little more and I didn't have clearance, and I kept having to stop and chisel and stop and chisel. And then even flipping it was a task and all that. But when I got down to a certain cut, I was cutting into it, and all of a sudden there was a bunch of sparks flying, as I said before. And so I thought it was, obviously the metal. And then, so I did the next brightest thing. I figured, well, I'm doing 3-inch cuts, 12/4. Why don't I just plow through this piece of metal, this nail or whatever, with this blade and get through it, and surely by the next cut it won't be a problem. Well, I couldn't plow through it, and so I had to stop. And so I'm wondering what should I do. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go get her chainsaw. I'll go get her Husqvarna 3120 XP, and I'll cut part of this stump because it's a 33-inch diameter. We got a 42-inch bar, maybe a little overkill, actually a little overkill, but anyways. And so I brought the Husqvarna 3120 XP out, and I brought it down, far past where the metal was, and even where how thick the nail or whatever it was, I come quite a few inches past it to just cut off. It would have been knocked it less than 8 feet, which is what I wanted, 8 feet, but what do you do? And so I've got the Husqvarna started trying to cut, and I got down about that far, and all of a sudden sparks are flying everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I shut that thing down, and I just couldn't figure out what in the world. So I went and got a wood chisel and a hammer, and I just started chiseling and hammering until finally I cut it out, and I realized what it was. It was a rock that was stuck, embedded into the bark, completely surrounded. And I finally was able to chisel out this rock. And so I didn't see any broken teeth, but I know I really much dulled the blade, and I don't know how much I damaged this blade. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but I'm hoping it was a soft rock. But so I'm trying to saw through this rock with the sawmill and the Husqvarna 3120, and I didn't get too successful. So I finally got this rock out. So this rock is going to be a keepsake. As a matter of fact, if someone ends up wanting to buy this slab, they can have a paperweight with this nice desk for like an extra $400, because I think that's what this rock is about worth. Obviously I'm kidding, but I'm going to keep this rock for a keepsake. But as challenging as this log was, then I finally hit a rock this size in it with not only the blade on the sawmill, but on the Husqvarna. So it was having my blood pressure high before I even started. It really was a challenging day. I knew not to video it because I knew this was going to be so challenging. I didn't need any more stress. So I didn't video it, but we got through it. I may have to take this to go get it sharpened. I may try to sharpen it, but I'm not too sure how much damage I've done to it. But sometimes sawmilling can be very fun, and other times it can be funner. So I'm going to put these slabs away. Let's go take a look at the, what's that thing called? So I'm going to put these slabs away. Let's go take a look at the kiln real quick. I'm not sure what people like in these videos, because I did a progress report on the last one and it barely got over 100 views. So, I'm just going to do the best I can and keep going forward. We've been so busy getting this kiln done and other things, I haven't done a whole lot of filming, but I'm hoping things start to be on the up and up and we're over the hump. Here's the outside of the kiln, the doors we painted. If anybody wants to hire out painters to do some painting, you will now know, do not call Wayne or me. But I think it looks good. Definitely looks good from our house. Here's the sides. We got our box back here. Our Nyle, whatever box you call this. all the gadgets and gadgets, and it works the compressor, the heat, the vent, the humidification, the power, and it tells you, and then you got 4 probes in the woods that tell you the moisture content in the wood. And what am I probably showing you? The pink panther over there. So and then does the average of all the 4 probes. Here's our switch. Look how lovely that is. I promise you, the holes on the other side look beautiful. But when we push the things through and try to get everything lined up, and then we put these huge decking screws to go through the polystyrene, and then 2 metals to hold it up, it sort of shifted these switches, and that's almost embarrassing. But I don't care. It works. All right, here's the moment everybody's been waiting for. Here's the grand opening. Are you ready? Oops, I forgot about this thing here. All right, there's the grand opening. One piece, a 3-foot, 1.5 inch ash board that needs some flattening. That's been out in the weather and everything else. That was our test piece. That was like in our grand opening. There's our first board for sale. Anybody wants it, just give us a call. But so here we are. There's our probes that go into the boards, as we were just having that as a test board. Here's our fans and dehumidifier from Nyle. And this is I keep forgetting what this thing's called, the wet bulb. That helps keep things. I'm not a tech guy. Wayne's the tech guy. I do the cutting the trees down and doing the milling and all that fun stuff. But that just helps. It helps to whatchamacallit keep the thingamajig in order. We'll have Wayne and RC do a better update on this kiln, because I'll give you the Tim Taylor version. Took us a while to build, and as I said, this week I'll be picking out the lumber and getting it ready, making those 4x4s. I may do a little filming of the 4x4s and call it a video. But I'm glad you can join us. Hopefully things will begin to unfold a little bit, and we'll, after a few weeks of getting this first load dried, we'll be able to start marketing some of our wood, and going forward, we still got the projects of those pine trees and possibly some forage management in the future. And there's our friend Dan and from Fairfield Bay has helped us out, and they got contractors over there that are knocking down property and cutting down trees so everyone can have a view of the lake. So there'll be some opportunity there to get some logs, and so there's a lot that's going on ahead of us, and hope you can stick with us and just see as we grow. But we finally made it over this hurdle. I guess the next hurdle is to get some lumber to dry.